My favorite day of the week. Third Party Thursday is here, and we got somebody. Woo-wee, because it's AFC East Divisional Football. So we need to bring in somebody, all right, from behind enemy lines. He was about to jump through a table. We caught him. We said, no, we need you on this podcast. We're about to talk Bills Mafia, Gang Green, Jets Nation, right here, right now. It's Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, go!
J-E-T-S, Jets! Let's go! Let's go! There you go, Woody!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, Boy Green is known for having the intro, but Wudi, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby.
Boy Green
meets Wudi. Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy, James Wudi, and you already know we are Wudi, rocking everywhere. Hey, this man right here, the boy who became king, Mr. Paul Esden Jr. in the building. Not wearing the hat, though, but still wearing a different hat. And, okay, we'll see. It's time. Okay, we about to get it. We about to get it. We looking for the hat. But while Boy Green is doing that, we got a very special guest, like I already said. All right, it's Third Party Thursday. We're bringing in somebody. You darn tootin', we bringing in somebody. All right, but this is for the Buffalo Bills. Okay, he is from the Bills Round Table. I got no table right now, but we about to go around the horn. None other than Kevin Masseri. Come on down. How you doing, our good sir?
Oh, I love the intro. The intro was great. I love your intro video. That got me jazzed up. Got me ready to talk some Jets football, especially as it pertains to the Bills, obviously. But liked what I saw from the Jets, honestly. I'd be happy if I was on the Jets side of things. Honestly, I think they're better than the other two division teams, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. But excited to be here. Always love being on and love talking crossovers. They're some of my funnest shows.
There's no doubt about it, Kevin. No doubt about it. Go ahead, Woody.
No, I was just gonna say because we learned so much. That's what I love about the crossover shows. So I'm expecting to learn a lot about your franchise, your juggernaut franchise. I know you guys are not liking those comments in the comments there, but it is what it is. I gotta call a spade. Juggernaut franchise. You actually just already touched on it a little bit, Kevin, but I just wanted to ask you, did anything from the Jets surprise you week one? You know, I know you probably weren't watching the game, but you know,
I was.
You were? Okay.
Yeah, well, we played Sunday night, and it was a good time to check out the division, and obviously, being the Steelers, you know, there was some definite interest to watch them too. So it was one of the 1:00 games that I definitely had a chance to entertain. It was an entertaining game, so it didn't make me turn it off. So I did learn a little bit about the Jets. I think that they have a really functioning offense. I think they made good decisions in the offseason with their offensive line. I thought they made good decisions. Offensive coordinator. So I think they've made some good decisions offensively. I mean, I expected them to be a little bit better defensively. But just like the Bills, we saw the Bills let up 40 points, still won. But ultimately, I'm impressed by the offense. I'm impressed by what Justin Fields was able to do compared to some of his other stops in his career. And, you know, there's definitely concern for the Bills that not that it was ever a pushover game for them, but they're a talented team that the Bills need to be careful. They just played a similar style of quarterback and running back, and they need to be careful. So ultimately, and New York always is house of horrors for the Bills. Like, truthfully, I think New York has their number a little bit, definitely more than Miami. I mean, the Bills just never lose in Miami. It's like Buffalo Light. They win in Kansas City in the regular season. So it's generally speaking, New York's been one of their harder places to play. Whether it's meaningful, whether it's not meaningful, whether it's in the middle, it's been a tough place for them to play consistently. Even back when Zach Wilson came in for an injured Aaron Rodgers and the Bills just didn't look right. So, we'll see how this thing looks, but I think they're always a competitive out for the Bills.
Well, I sure as hell hope that continues this week, Kevin. There's no question about it. But before we get to all that, there's just a pressing question coming off that Ravens game. Yeah. Is this Bills defense chop liver run defense, or is the Baltimore Ravens just a unique outfit with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and all these explosive things that, quite frankly, they would have done what they did to anybody?
I mean, I've been watching the film, so I'm a film and analytics guy, and there were some very encouraging numbers for the Bills defense, but then Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry just totally throw that out the window and stress every single thing that they do. The Bills stopped the same play 3 or 4 times. You don't really think about that, but you think of the one time they busted it because they busted it a few times. And honestly, the Bills had Lamar sacked for like a 20-yard loss, and he does his normal Josh Allen / Lamar Jackson thing where he gets out of it, converts, and then they score in the next play. Really was looking like a punt situation. They're really good, and they've been really mad since they lost in the division round last year. The Bills, obviously, this week 1, the Bills need to get ahead and be ahead on the division. But the way that they had the energy in that game to come on the road and make the rights of what they looked like here, they were pretty awful for 3 quarters in this divisional round last year. Played good in the 4th quarter and almost came back like the Bills did this time. They did fall short because of the Mark Andrews did not convert the 2-point conversion, and then they did not receive the onside kick. The Bills were able to achieve their comeback, but they were awful for 3 quarters last year, and this is kind of the reverse where they were really good for 3 quarters. This game started to falter in the 4th. Conservative play calling. The Bills D-line actually got after it, guys. That's the biggest change for this Bills team that I can mention. Ed Oliver absolutely changed the game for the Bills. He's always been like a role player / overpaid D tackle 1. But now he's really taking that step to be like, all right, if he's making the plays that he was paid to make, and truly big time plays, basically knocking the ball away from Derrick Henry, a really great play. And then getting them to turn the ball back over to the Bills 3 times, 2 punts, which I consider a turnover, and a fumble. So in the 4th quarter, the Bills were great defensively, and including a huge hit on Lamar Jackson that did not allow them to go for it on 4th down because he said he was cramping. But ultimately, the Bills defense played really good in the 4th quarter and really bad for the first 3 quarters. So it's kind of a reverse of their divisional round game the last time the Ravens played.
Well, I do. I saw your tweet the other day about Ed Oliver was the best defender in football in week 1. And the tweet that you quoted was the pretty much the list of investment on the defensive side. And I was aware of those investments, and I was thinking to myself, dang, the Bills, they got a defense, because when Josh first came in, right, they had a defense, and just injuries seem to happen every year. But now I feel like the defense has been rebuilt. But people in Jetsland are telling me, Wudi, you crazy. And Boy Green kind of just alluded to it with his question. They just allowed 40 points. So, just to, I don't mean to there's not an echoing here, but do you think they can, buckle down? And they saw that it was a clear problem week 1. And I think Jets fans are thinking, oh, it was a problem week 1. It's about to be a problem week 2. Do you think they have the personnel, the coaching, to actually right that wrong from last week?
You're right. The investment's been large. The quote, the tweet you're mentioning, I quote retweeted, was the list of their investments there at the position. I mean, it's the same question can go for Baltimore too. So both of our teams, and maybe even the Jets a little bit, and the Steelers too. Like, there's probably questions on all of that. And I think that all 4 of them will probably right the defensive ship if I'm going to make a prediction on this scenario. And equally so for the Ravens. Like, they're higher priced and have more all pros than we do. We don't have any on defense. We just went out and invested in the draft and invested in it in a few positions of keeping their own players. And the Ravens were supposed to be this mega super team. Literally, that's how they were presented to us all week. And, they ended up becoming favored by the end of the week. They were favored to win. And the quote retweet you see here is a lot of those have worked out. Like Greg Rousseau was pretty solid in the game, wasn't great, but had a really good season. Christian Benford is right on the top tier behind your, Pat Surtains and your Sauce Gardners. It really is Christian Benford right there. And he's been very solid, and he played an extremely well game. One ridiculous catch by DeAndre Hopkins one-handed that many people argue could have hit the ground. But ultimately he's been a solid addition. And literally at Oliver, it's not an exaggeration. Like, he scored his analytics and even eye test. Like, he literally saved the game for the Bills in that game. So that was the exception that I took with the players he listed in this specific tweet. They did pay them pretty decently, but I expect the Bills defense to turn it around. I'm not expecting the Bills to score 41 points in rocket fuel mode every week either. So I don't expect them to go to New York and score 40 points because it's the same thing. Just because they did it last week, I don't expect them to go and score 41 points just because they can or they did. Equally so, this game meant a lot to the Ravens. It was punch for punch. It really was like a playoff game. I was not expecting that tight. I was expecting some sloppiness, some bad looking play. And by the second half, we were not getting that. I was like, geez, this is like a reminiscence of when the Bills played the Chiefs in the playoffs, or when the Bills even played the Ravens in the playoffs. It was almost better game than the last time that they played. So they took it really, really, really to heart and really seriously. I expect them to not look as good offensively at times as they did. Otherwise, Josh is going to run to an MVP. But then also, I don't expect the defense to play as poorly as it did for 3 quarters, only because they did turn it down in the fourth quarter. So that'd be the hope for any Bills fan, is that fourth quarter defense is what got them back in the game, not just their offense.
Oh, Kevin, I've got a question for you, my friend. I got a question for you.
Shoot.
I need your complete and utter honesty. Can I get that from you, Kevin?
Yeah, I'll give you my utter honesty. You got it.
How good does Harrison Phillips look in the green and white, baby? How good does he look?
He's loved in Buffalo. I mean, he's a great player. Like, literally, he's an underrated player. We were pretty mad when we let him walk. I don't know why they basically gave him to the Jets for nothing. That was super weird. I don't know what the Vikings are doing. They ended up, I guess they're winning. Good for them. JJ came back and won a game against Chicago, but I don't know what they're doing. I thought that was a super cheap price. I think you're going to like him there. I don't know how I haven't looked at his film for week 1 yet, but ultimately he's a good player, really great. He still comes back to Buffalo 6 to 7 times a year from what I was told. And I have he's pretty active in our charity community and really great guy. So it pains me to look at him in the green. But I think you'll like him at least as a rotational one tech, depending on how you guys will use him. I think he's a versatile guy for you. And now it pains me to see him across, and he's caused some havoc in his short time that he's played against. He knows some Bills tells, maybe not as much anymore, but he caused some problems when he was in Minnesota early on because he knew our offensive line calls.
By the way, a real quick follow-up. Was that real? Because I heard Vikings people share it. You're going to remember the game better than me, but I think it was that Vikings-Bills game, and the Vikings tried to go for it, and they didn't get it, and they were like on the 1-inch line, and Josh Allen
fumbled this QB sneak, yep.
Yeah, and everyone in Vikings land says, oh, Harrison knew it's okay. So, yeah, I guess just take it from there. You could tell the better story than my broken half-ass version, so go ahead, Kevin.
So the story lies, the Bills had the 4th and 18 that Justin Jefferson one hands over his head. Over a backup safety, but it doesn't matter. And the Bills were up big most of the game, and it was kind of like the reverse of what we just saw with the Bills last week. It's very similar, not as like on the national stage as the Bills Ravens, but the Bills were up 15 to 17 most of the game. And they kept chipping away a little bit, and it's 4th and 18, and Kirk Cousins threw up a prayer, and Justin Jefferson catches it one-handed behind his head and snatches it one-handed out of our backup safety's hands. It was ridiculous. And then from there, they drove all the way down to the 1 where they went for it and got stopped. Game over, right? Like, it really was game over. All Josh Allen has to do is snap the ball and do what he does 99% of the time. For some reason, Harrison Phillips knew the line call and got in the center to what Mitch Morse. They still talk. I've heard them talk about this actually in person, and into Mitch Morris's way and caused a slight bobble of the ball. From there, Gabe Davis comes out of nowhere to help him do, the early days of the tush push. And just the ball comes completely out. And ridiculously, they not only do it comes out, no one sees the ball. They recover it for a touchdown. Should have been the easiest safety in the world. The game should not mattered. They recover it for a touchdown. Insanity. The more ridiculous part, then Josh Allen gets the ball back with like 40 seconds and goes down and we kick a field goal to go to overtime. So it continues to be ridiculous. And then the game goes on from there. They kick a field goal in overtime. We go down and throw an interception in the end zone. Vikings win. And it was clearly all because Harrison, literally, he saved that game. It was a really great play. One of the better individual plays from somebody who knew our line calls.
Taste it. So if the Bills want to share any more intel with Harrison Phillips between me, you, and him, I've got no issues there. No issues, sir, Kevin.
I hope he doesn't know anything left, Boy Green. I really do.
We don't have to beat you up too much. I'll leave that to Harrison Phillips. Because the national media has highlighted one of your players and has said, wow, this dude has arrived. And I've seen them do that, not really with Jets players like that, but when this does happen, is national media, are they just bugging? Are they telling the truth? So again, utter honesty. I guess that's about to be the theme of this show. Utter honesty. Has Keon Coleman arrived?
Keon Coleman is such an interesting case because he looked like one of the best rookie receivers in football for a little while last year, gets hurt by Jordan Poyer, comes back and is just not very efficient, just not very good. I don't know how a wrist injury can cause you to regress like that. So it's super weird. So that was a weird start, right? So went over 100 yards a couple times last year, dominated Seattle, did a couple of things where thought he had arrived then. Came back and was awful. Then started not playing, was replaced basically by Matt Collins and Curtis Samuel, who produced for the Bills, especially down the stretch. And then Matt Collins goes and gets paid by New England, and Curtis Samuel's still inactive for the Bills. So he has, man, he took a no-nonsense approach. I don't understand. You can't point to an analytic or a metric, but he just shows up. And if he continues to do that for Josh, and Josh Allen gives him the ball, if you see the chart of how the Bills came back, Keon Coleman was involved in every single play. So honestly, is he the best man-to-man receiver? No, he's not. But somehow he's finding spots in zones. People are giving him cushions. And he's winning contested balls to the point where Josh Allen is going to him exclusively in the red zone, which we thought was pretty interesting for him to be his for sure target. So it looks like he's arrived. We thought we saw this a little bit his rookie year, though. So we'll see if that continues. But he is a guy that absolutely, like I just said about Ed Oliver, he absolutely was the other part of the equation where he caught a deflection that shouldn't have been caught. Game should have been over, but he stuck with it and read it all the way and saw that it was going to get tipped and made a really good play in the end zone. So those are the kind of things that'll catch McDermott's attention. And he's been the receiver one the Bills have been hoping for since Diggs left a few years ago. So we'll see if that continues, but he's been good, guys. He's definitely been the first real receiver that I would say could threaten defenses in quite some time.
Well, this jacket sure has arrived. Good Lord have mercy. Wow. From his rookie season there, shortly after being drafted. There you go. That's a look for sure. I need to ask you this, Kevin, as I, review, week ones are weird. Weird stuff happens in week one. So some things aren't meant to be trends or taken for what they are. But I see that Josh Allen had 14 carries in the game. When you break all that down, how many of those are manufactured Josh Allen? We're running the football with Josh Allen. And how many are scrambles? He's just playing Josh Allen, Wyoming Cowboy quarterback football.
He had some manufactured touches. They obviously don't want to do what they did last. He got hurt in the week one last year, literally, and it affected him the entire season. where he jumped over Buda Baker into the end zone and landed on the top of his hand. And he wore that ridiculous glove the entire season. And they were trying to avoid that. So most of those are needing Josh to get a first down or a tush push scenario, because you're not going to see a lot of yards last week in his rush attempts. So not as much of I see an opening, I'm going to take it. I'm going to not throw and run. You might see that more this week, guys, with I know how much man coverage you run right now. It's like 50%. And that's just when he happens to run. So that is, I'm sure Aaron Glenn has seen him last year, and when he diced up Detroit, he's got to make an adjustment from his man coverage, because Josh is really good against it. So I don't know what's going to give there. Like, you guys got to have a spy on him. If you're going to continue to run man, because I don't know. It's too easy for him. So I'm sure it's not going to be that easy when you have a guy like Aaron Glenn who can coach with his pedigree. So I'm sure he's going to have some surprises for Josh. I would assume he's going to have some surprises for Josh Allen, or hope to. But no, a lot of those were manufactured 1 yard, maybe a tush push, maybe scenarios where he jumps over the end zone for, at the 1. It wasn't a lot of Josh Allen trying to make a play scrambles, like play breaks down. He was actually throwing the ball more in those cases, which now that's on film. So the Jets are going to have to say, will he do that again? Or now is he going to run this game? So I don't even know the answer to that. But now that he's thrown so much out of those scramble scenarios, it does put stress on like how you're going to game plan, or what you're going to really focus on.
See, Kevin, we've spent too much time together. You're already jumping to my next questions, partner. We got to rein that on in now. But let's get into it. And that was my fear going into this Cowboys. This Jets-Bills game. We are doing a massive tailgate for the Jets-Cowboys. Cowboy hat. There's a lot going on over here.
Should be fun.
But my question is on that. Aaron Glenn loves running man coverage. And there's a lot of great with man coverage. It's mano-a-mano. It's how the gods intended it, I'm sure. But when those guys are playing man-on-man and their backs are turned to Josh Allen, he's like, gets past initial frontier, all of a sudden he's off to the races. So to be honest, I don't know if enough people are talking about this week. That's the thing that scares me. And if you look at some of the, history of Aaron Glenn versus Josh Allen in some of those scenarios, there are games, as you just highlighted, where Josh Allen has christened the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost against Aaron Glenn, and that part of it certainly concerns me. But to your point, maybe there is a QB spy. I'll be curious who the Jets, put in that role. That role is important, but like Quincy Williams does a lot, like as a random example, Quincy Williams does a lot of really good things. Are you going to bottle him up and say, hey, your job is to just watch Josh Allen, and then you take away from some of the other contribution that he does? So to me, that's sort of the give and take, the tete-a-tete that is there if they want to be their man coverage principal defense, but also at the same time, you're taking a chess piece off the board that can contribute in a lot of ways. So I guess that's the debate there, Kevin.
It's a tough one, because you're right. Like, that's sometimes the Bills want that, because if he does other things well, it gives them an advantage somewhere else. So that's the real stress that Aaron Glenn has to go through in his mind of, would you let the player do what he does well and hope that Josh Allen doesn't run for 100? I think you do. Like, I don't know. Spies never really worked much, because then the passing game opens way up. So it's such a debate. Like, to run a spy, I almost like more of because he doesn't get sacked anyways, guys. Like literally dating back many years now. Like, you may get a sack on him. His line's been good for 2 or 3 seasons. Always the least sack quarterback in the league, not just due to the line, because of his play too. Spy one of your defensive linemen. It's the best way to do it. Like, you got to drop somebody out, not to cover somebody, but to drop and watch him. I just don't think you lose enough in the pass rush. And it might be frustrating to be like, oh, we don't have any sacks or 1 sack. Our D-line sucks. But we do the same thing against Lamar. Like, you can't just send up the field pass rushers. You're going to get torched. Now you got to use a linebacker and spy. Now you're in coverage. Now you're lost leverage. D-line spy him. That's the best way that Aaron Glenn can figure it out. Interior pressure, obviously, for any quarterback, that's duh. But other than that, DN spy him. Do something where you're not wasting your linebacking talent you got to go with the defensive end who may not get there anyways. Just have him at least bottle up Josh Allen so that even if he does break away, it's for minimal gains. And that's the best way to make him think, keep him in the pocket. If he gets outside of the pocket, I've really never seen better football. Truthfully, at this minute at least.
Damn, that is...
Him to his right is I'm not kidding. It's lethal. So when Josh Allen goes, if you see him to the right, it's lethal.
But real quick, just to clarify, you said it's the best quarterback play you've seen. Did you watch Justin Fields week 1 against the Steelers? Or
Justin Fields was good. I like Justin. So the funny part is I like Justin Fields. I like Kyler Murray. There's a few guys that some people like hate on. I like Dak Prescott. So there's a few people that are hated on that I like their play. Like I've always thought that Justin Fields got the raw deal. Should have been playing in Pittsburgh.
Obviously, of course.
I mean, he did, but should have been given more of a reign. Chicago just sucked. So that at least then. So I don't take anything from his film there.
Sure.
But I do. I think he's been one of the best high school recruits. He's been talented his whole life and doesn't take much to put him in a right situation. Hopefully it's there for you guys. And I like him. I think he does cause Lamar-like stress for a team that just struggled against Lamar Jackson, whether he's fully Lamar. Obviously, I'm not saying he's Lamar Jackson, but he does create that kind of issue for a defense. And, the Bills got to get better at it, honestly. And they have a little practice from playing the best at it, but he's really good. I thought he had a really good game and almost led them back himself at the end outside of a really good play. Unfortunate, but the games are one hit away in your guys' case, one hit lodge ball away from winning.
Oh, yes. Definitely tried to remember about Jalen Ramsey, so I appreciate that.
Well,
no worries. And Josh, I do know he is hard to get down there for a sack. But hey, like we also have seen before, sometimes our boys have put the hits on him. Quentin Williams, but that's very interesting about the D-line spot. I didn't think about that.
D-line spy. There's more advantage D-line spying him than taking a talented linebacker off of their assignment. Definitely,
but you need the right guy too, though, because like you get a fat boy and he's not fast enough. He sees him, seeing him, and getting him are two different things. So you need the right athletic defensive end that you're also willing to sacrifice.
That's right.
To not be doing the pass rush juice like Will, Jermaine, those kind of guys. You want them pinning their ears back. If they're worried about some spy action, then you're taking away their superpower. So yeah, it's an impossible.
It's a tough one for you with the way your roster's built, because there is some really talented young pass rushers. You have some good, like we just talked about, Harrison Phillips and Quentin Williams. But I don't know if you would know your roster better than me in terms of if there's a backup D end, even to contain him a little bit. A linebacker you may play a little bit more than normal. I don't know. Something you don't want to take your best players out of their element. That's definitely, you don't want to do that. Like that has never worked. Saleh was pretty good against Josh Allen. Obviously you guys probably have your own opinions on him as a coach, like of your team, but at least in a one-off defensive basis, in a vacuum, we'll say, he was decent against Josh Allen for the most part.
I can't lie. He was elite. I thought. I felt like he was forcing Jones to get like 3 turnovers a game.
Out of every, even Spags is good. Spags even struggles at times. I mean, Robert Saleh was probably the best at containing Josh in factoring everything. I know they weren't in the biggest games, so that's a little different, but his body of work is the best against Josh. So he probably takes that to San Francisco now, but
where's Jordan Whitehead? Where is Jordan Whitehead? We need Jordan Whitehead ASAP.
I know. Jeez. Was that, did he have 3 picks that game or 2?
3, I think. 3. Yeah. He was not, that game was incredible. I lost so much sleep when they fired him directly before the Bills. Like that was a game where I was saying, this is a team that he's been, I don't want to say dominating, but at some points,
And then don't we put up 40 that game? Wasn't after he got fired, or am I thinking of a different?
No.
Second
one. Yeah. That first game was super close. It was
super
like,
close.
Yeah. It was.
Monday Night Football.
It was super close. You got a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Well,
Alan
start,
Lazard.
And then someone ran the wrong route, right? Was it
Mike
Oh,
Williams, run the
yeah.
red line. Run the
Red
red
line,
line.
yes.
He did not.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, once
that-
again, another example of like a back and forth one score. You had a big Hail Mary. I mean, crazy stuff was happening. Exactly. And then he was fired before the next game, right? The second game?
He was fired before. Yeah,
No, he
before
was
that
fired
first
before
game.
that first game.
So yeah,
He
coming
was.
coming from Minnesota, from
yeah.
London, they get fired at the beginning of week 5. Jeff
Okay.
Ulbricht's first game is week 6 Monday Night
Right.
Football with AFC East supremacy on the line.
That
And
was
they were-
wild.
And that's the wild thing. They were like, oh my God, if the Jets beat the Bills, despite everything going on, they're in first place. And
That's
so
right.
yeah, bizarre.
That was a wild.
I already knew
wild-
that there was no chance of that.
They came out inspired football though. Like seriously for
Sure.
the situation. They always say they do. There's always a
Interims,
boost.
right.
They say there's
Yeah.
a boost for a week or two.
Yeah, I don't know. The defense, they all said like, "Damn, we were shocked. Like we didn't expect this to happen." The offense definitely looked way better though
They
than what was happening.
The offense.
But another key part of that, which I'm gonna tie back into this week's game, was Greg Zuerlein. I think that was the game where he became the pariah of the Jets fan base. I know he missed at least 2 kicks. I think he missed an extra point and a
2
field
field
goal.
goals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, it was 2 field goals.
Yeah, I believe so.
So there you go. And then we lose by a field goal, and that's where you get
That's
the
right.
coulda, woulda, shouldas. You look at the Bills last week. A name that I haven't heard of or heard from in a long time was Matt Prater. Some of the players were talking about, is this a coach right here? But I mean, he's always been known. I remember him from Detroit, big leg.
Yep.
I mean, now in today's world, it seems like all these young kids are hitting 60-yarders, but like he was, one of the first that was doing it consistently. Does Tyler Bass need to, update his LinkedIn? What's up? Do we think he's gonna have a job when he's healthy?
No, I mean the smoothness that Matt Prater brings, and like he doesn't have much left, obviously, in terms of length. Like, this probably is the last hurrah for a 41-year-old kicker. But the way he kicks the ball, like the ease in which he does it, like he brings like a calming presence that, Tyler Bass is a huge, like he's hit 60 plus yarders to beat the Dolphins, etc. He's done that kind of stuff. Been pretty good. He's been really good in times, been a little shaky in others. And Buffalo's not an easy place to kick, and Prater just comes in a nice elements though. And just looks smooth, and to the point where you're right. Bills fans are mentioning like, dude, we just signed a veteran kicker off. Why? First of all, why wasn't he on like, I forgot who struggled this week. The 49ers obviously cut Moody, a couple other
Browns.
The Browns should have won.
Yeah.
Why isn't like he's clearly better than like a lot of bad kickers. And the Bills felt the same way. Like he came in and ran a great operation. He was here like 3 days doing a fire drill. Like that's not an easy, like the Bills were more concerned with not giving the ball back to Lamar than they were with their field goal operation, which fair. But ultimately it's not an easy kick to run on the field, not be set. You're lying. You can't false start. You don't have any timeouts. You would lose the game. Like it's little thing. You can't even mess up little. It's the kick isn't the hard part. Like you have to be focused, and everybody, it's a tough kick in that environment with the game on the line with zero room for error. So people are pretty impressed with his performance, and he's handled it super well. And yeah, many people are saying like they don't want to see Bass this year. So we'll see how that looks. But Prater's been good. Like he was good. Like, I mean, the guy under 50 and he has a big leg in his career. So the Bills are pretty excited for, having someone that they perceive to be like pretty reliable. So we'll see if that continues further, at least into New York.
All right. Wudi mentioned a new kicker, a new punter, Bill Burr. I mean,
I know.
Cameron
McDermott.
Johnson. Yeah, Sean McDermott, Bill Burr, Cameron Johnson, whoever the hell this is so a new kicker and a new punter. Like, what a wild west for Bill's special teams. That's your previous punter, ex-girlfriend must have been pretty horrific to lead to another signing here. So what's going on with you heard about the kicker? That sounds good. Punter, less interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Robbins was awful. Like he was literally, I had tweeted it literally, he had a negative 0.6 EPA per punt, which means if you add up his 4 punts, he allowed the Ravens to effectively get almost 2.5 points on the game. That's how that would work.
Wow.
He was awful. The Bills are usually in good field position. Josh Allen usually doesn't go 3 and out. And if he does, we can't just have a punter who botches it. He was bad. So the Bills, I tweet he had an awful day. I don't think he was going to get cut that minute, but I knew his leash was probably short. And they had to have been in talks with Cameron Johnson, who has a huge leg, absolutely enormous leg. The Steelers went out and gave him $9 million. Actually, he ended up getting hurt last year. And I think he's a pretty good punter. Honestly, the Bills needed to make a change. And even if he's not, he's better than what Robin showed last week. So.
Nope. See you later, Cameron Johnston. But let's finish off here, Kevin. Come on. Prediction time. Who's going to win this game? Why is it the Jets? By how many points?
I mean, the Jets are going to give the Jets are going to give the Bills fits, and everything that I saw last week does confirm this is not the easiest. This is not the game I overly want to play coming off of that huge Ravens game. It's really not. I'd rather play the Saints they have the following week or whoever else. I don't overly want to play a pretty decent looking divisional opponent who I'm saying is probably going to finish second unless something catastrophic happens. I mean, I don't really like New England. I think May's overrated. Miami's a tire fire. Maybe Mike McDaniel firing like Saleh last year. So I do have the Jets putting a little bit of pressure on throughout the season and definitely in this game, especially down in New York. The Bills just don't play well there in general. Bills are pretty hot offensively, so we'll see how that looks. How much our defenses get better each will be a key thing in this one. I got the Bills 27-24, but it's not going to be comfortable. And we're going to get out of that one saying, wow, back-to-back games where it was iffy. That's how I feel about this one. I do not feel like a 2-score Bills win. I don't even feel great about an 8-point win. So could come down to make sure we don't have a 3-interception performance by Josh Allen. And that may be enough to just keep this game at bay. But Jets will do some good things. They'll score some points. They'll definitely cause some stress and at least get Bills and Bills fans to be like, yeah, that was not our easiest. And the Jets could cause some issues in the wild card race. We'll see once their schedule gets a little bit lighter with some of these teams that we both play.
Wow. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, actually.
I have a good feel. I'm a big time Yankees fan. I have a good feel for, they're a different discussion. I watched 2 MVPs and neither of them can win the whole thing yet. So it's some type of punishment, I swear. But I do have a lot of good friends in New York, and I'm on a couple Jet shows this week, and I do enjoy outside of being in the same division, I like to see how they do. Because ultimately I think the league's better if somebody in New York is good. And you guys would obviously prefer the Jets to the Giants, I think.
Yes.
And I don't really like the Giants. I think Brian Daboll's way overrated.
You didn't like him from his
I thought it was all Josh Allen, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I mean, I thought Josh made Brian, and that's proven to be true. He's gotten 4 different quarterbacks now at this point. By the time he goes to Dart, it'll be 4. So I don't know. I just don't think he's overly great of a coach. I was sick of hearing about how Brian Daboll was better than both McDermott and Josh. I'm like, this is a joke. He's not that great of a coach. In fact, he didn't run a great ship here, in my opinion. So, but the league's always better if somebody in New York is good. And you guys got a lot going on for you. We'll see if it's Justin Fields or if it's next year, if you do go out and get a different quarterback. But I think everyone is giving it to New England. I think it's New York that is going to push for a wild card spot potentially. Is they got to take advantage of some of these softer games, guys. That's the key. The Steelers is tougher. Obviously, the Bills was tougher for you. But some of these easier games, you guys got to take advantage of. And if you do, I think you have a chance because the Bengals stink and a couple of these other teams stink. Last week may have been for a wild card spot. I seriously felt like that looked like wild card teams playing for the 6-7 seed.
Well, wonderful. Well, Kevin, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to grace us here. The Third Party Thursday is one of our favorites. I don't know if we talked about that on air or off air because it all blurs together, I suppose. But my favorite part about doing the schedule and the season is the networking that happens between content creators and people that do what we do. So it's a lot of fun to always connect, my friend.
Absolutely. It's great to be on here as always. You guys run a wonderful outfit, and go Brees Hall. As a Brees Hall fan myself, I thought it was outlandish that you guys are talking about moving on from him. I thought it was weird, or some content creators, I should say. I thought that was really weird. I was like, good, then get rid of him. But ultimately, he's a great player, and I'm not overly happy to see a light version of the Ravens with Fields and Hall. But I like being on here, and I love talking football. Division games are fun.
Definitely. We loved having you. And I don't got too many jerseys of current players, but Brees Hall is one of them. He is my guy. It made me sick to my stomach to hear about those rumors. Now they can be put to bed, and I can sleep peacefully at night. But definitely appreciate you. Appreciate your time. And, I wish you a solid game, but not the dub. Not the dub.
Well, you could cause some real havoc early on in this season, tying things up. So could definitely create some early pressure for the Bills for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, there we go. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time